There are no two words in the English language more harmful than good job.
The worst thing you can ever receive is a compliment. In many ways, Whiplash teaches its viewers that. But it's much more complicated than that. Is obsession always unhealthy, or is it necessary to become successful? What differentiates someone who's just good and someone who turns into one of the greats? How far is taking it too far in pursuing your passion? Andrew Neiman is a young man with a musical dream. He's in the most prestigious music school in the country. He practices relentlessly. He does everything possible in hopes of leaving behind a legacy. But don't be misguided by the inspiring sound of Andrew's dreams, because the story is immensely dark. Conductor of the Schaefer Conservatory Studio Band, Terrence Fletcher, invites Andrew to play as an alternate for the ensemble's core drummer. This is a huge deal to Andrew, as the studio band is highly respected and very exclusive. However, it doesn't take long before Andrew realizes that this wasn't going to be an easy ticket to stardom. Fletcher is emotionally and physically abusive to his students. He's demeaning, cruel, and unreasonably strict.
And I am not going to have my reputation in that department tarnished by a bunch of fucking limp dick, sour note, flattered on their girlfriend's flexible tempo dipshits. Got it?
But no matter how vile Fletcher is, Andrew is intent on impressing him. Because if someone is so picky and harsh, that must mean their standards are high, right? And if their standards are high, then only the best will be able to impress. Andrew practices to the point of literal blood, sweat, and tears. Every time Fletcher beats him down, Andrew gets back up, completely fixated on becoming the best. He wants to prove to Fletcher that he can work harder and become better than anyone else, no matter what Fletcher throws in his way or says to insult him. Whiplash does an excellent job at bringing the audience into Andrew's state of mind. We're enchanted by the rhythm of the film's sound design, getting sucked up into a melodic yet tense bout of anticipation. All Andrew cares about is music, and as Fletcher destroys his spirit, he unapologetically cuts off anything and everyone he thinks could serve as a distraction, including his girlfriend Nicole.
And really, I'm just gonna start to resent you for even asking me to stop drumming. And we're just gonna start to hate each other. And it's gonna be ugly. And so for those reasons, I'd rather just, break it off clean.
But has Andrew's determination gone too far? Now he's undervaluing the importance of human connection and his own physical health. In many ways, Whiplash is a psychological character study. Andrew is convinced that no one understands the value of his ambitions, and he is determined to avoid the mediocrity that he perceives around him.
Because I want to be great.
And you're not.
I want to be one of the greats.
He sees how his father made nothing bigger of his life besides being a middle school teacher, and Nicole has no particular path she's pursuing either. From a young age, Andrew loved music. And though he's in some ways socially awkward in the beginning of the film, he holds a sense of certainty in his music. For much of the first and second acts, Andrew is confident and hopeful that he is making momentous strides towards massive success. But when Fletcher beats him down, we see that light within him start to dim. His self-belief turns darker, and he becomes detached from reality, spending mass amounts of time in the practice room, isolating himself and letting his ambition express itself unkindly.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Thanks.
That shit?
To Andrew, the pursuit of greatness requires acute focus and devotion. Because in this world, your competition is quite literally right beside you. It's clear that as the film progresses, Andrew's mental health deteriorates more and more until he's essentially working on autopilot. The craziest of scenes shows Andrew get into an extremely dangerous car accident, crawl out of the car, and not even acknowledge his injuries or the situation as he runs on stage. Andrew has one thing on his mind: reaching success, and he will let nothing get in the way of that. Until his frustrations and anger inevitably boil over and he attacks Fletcher. Andrew gets expelled from the school, and Fletcher is fired for his abusive teaching methods.
Answer!
But this isn't the last time the two see each other. In what I'd consider the most significant and meaningful scene of the film, Fletcher and Andrew discuss ambition in the pursuit of greatness.
I was there to push people beyond what's expected of them. I believe that is an absolute necessity.
He thinks that teaching with intense strictness will pull out the best in them. A compliment will encourage you to stay mediocre, but a level of ruthlessness will force you to improve.
But is there a line? You know, maybe you go too far and you discourage the next Charlie Parker from ever becoming Charlie Parker.
No, man, no. Because the next Charlie Parker would never be discouraged.
So, in a weird way, were Fletcher's intentions always good? It's not as black and white as that. What Whiplash does is explore what it may look like when ambition becomes unhinged. Perfection of an art is never and should never be easy. There's truth to the ideology that too easily rewarding people does more harm than good, because not everyone can come out on top in the real world. Fletcher undoubtedly took his rationale too far. He was an abusive bully and doesn't deserve praise for his way of trying to motivate greatness. But if there is something to gather from Whiplash, it's that hard work and struggle is inevitable, and that you can't let yourself get discouraged, no matter how difficult things get. In the end, Andrew manages to turn Fletcher's attempt to embarrass him into an opportunity to let his talent shine. He takes control of the stage, holds command over the other musicians,
I'll cue you in. Caravan.
and breaks free from the control of Fletcher. By doing this, he actually gains the respect from Fletcher that he's never shown anyone. Fletcher is so impressed that he even works alongside Andrew, conducting him to help him play better. The satisfaction goes both ways. Fletcher is pleased that he may have finally found his next Charlie Parker. And most notably, Andrew recovers his sense of genuine passion and pride for playing music.